CAs for Doom have just been released. I got my Zuck helm back, and I'm going to show you the fastest ways to get your combat achievements done. Full runs for the main CAs are linked in the description, so look there if you want the full playthroughs, but otherwise here's the streamlined guide. For most players, this will be the hardest CA. Max gear is basically required, Scythe and ZCB are both big time saves, and T-bow is a must. My biggest tip for saving time is to skip shield phase. This means on waves 3 through 8, do not damage the boss during shield phase. Let it fully charge the death beam, and that will end shield phase without having to kill the shield. The damage depends on the wave, and in total you're going to have to tank over 500 damage that cannot be tick eaten. The plan is to bring at least 6 brews and at least 3 anglers to have enough food, and on waves 6 through 8, eat an angler after the death beam so you don't die. The next most important thing is knowing when to reset. Aim to clear wave 2 in sub 110 and reset if slower than 125. For waves 1 through 4, try to clear in 3 minutes or less, ideally sub 250. At 315, you would have 1 minute each for each of the 4 remaining waves, which is cutting it pretty close, but definitely still possible with good RNG. Making the most out of your punish is really important for this speed time. Stand 1 or 2 tiles away so you can instantly hit, and as soon as the boss brings its shield together, you should be ready to swap the scythe and punish as soon as you can. Prioritize switching as fast as possible over doing extra switches. Getting your next hit faster matters more than 1 extra gear piece. On levels 6 and 7, stay close for faster punishes at the cost of not being able to perfectly set up rocks. On level 8, do not greed punishes. Play safe and use whatever strategy you're most comfortable with. One optional strategy is using Vengeance on the projectile attacks from the boulder and spellbook swap for death charge. Inventory space already feels pretty tight, so I don't recommend doing this. And another tech I don't recommend is tick manipulating using blowpipe or Eye of Iac. It's pretty difficult to do, but if you're good at it, you can probably save around 12 seconds on average. The best in slot gear for this is full Inquisitor with Inquisitor's Mace combined with a Dragonfire Shield. The DFS and Defender are really close, and we have to do a shield run anyway for a different CA, so this is a good way to do it. Voidwaker and Thralls failed this task, and I'm using knives for range grubs because Scorching Bow is two-handed. I was using Eye of Iac with no runes, but you can auto-cast Demonbane if you want. I saw a lot of people using Dragon Warhammer, but I did it fine with no spec weapon. Grub explosions fail this task, except for if the explosion hits shield phase. Be careful when you kill grubs close to the boss. Be especially careful of the transition from shield phase to car phase, because a grub dying there can fail you. The boss melee hurts. Be safe by hitting it when it does its auto attack, and get free hits when it does the boulder attack. Car phase is tricky on 6 through 8. You can't really rock block like normal, so you can either go for a closer park or just improvise. You can bring a lot of brews for this CA, so there's a lot of room for mistakes. Noxious Halberd is a must here, and so is Blindfold plus Skybox plugin to see boulder shadows better. ZCB is great so you can try to avoid orb phase, but it's not necessary. If you're not confident in your orb walking, you can definitely brute force this CA by just getting lucky and killing before orb every single time. If you go that route, make sure you deep proc the boss and you should have a good chance of killing before orb. Make sure not to use a prayer regen because that instantly fails. Ancient Mace up to 141 prayer, and make sure you don't restore any prayer via holy water. Staying above 100 prayer is one foolproof way to do that, but you can definitely use the full 141 prayer if you need to. Save as much prayer as possible on levels 1 through 4 and use the rest of your prayer for levels 5 through 8. Flick Rigor during car phases and use Rigor as much as possible on waves 7 and 8. If you want to use zero prayer when praying against a series of 3 projectiles, you have to add an extra click that turns off any active prayer you have. For example, if you wanted to pray Mage, then Range, you can do that with zero prayer loss by doing Mage, Mage Range, Range. This doesn't work if you're using an offensive prayer at the same time. If you have the right gear, this is impossible to fail accidentally. Be careful to keep casting Demonbane on the boss during the shield phase. Except that many grubs will leak, brew up, and keep interrupting the boss. You should be able to get this passively, but if you want to complete the CA specifically, you can force it by using Thralls to spawn a lot of poison. It's easiest to complete this on wave 8 or later since the stomping lasts longer. Another way to get this CA is using the vacuum cleaner tech. There's 2 ways to set that up. In the first way, you kill the boss just as it exits car phase, so that the boss dies as the volatile earth are spawned. You have about 10 seconds to spawn the orb, and not only does this clean the poison for free, it actually cleans poison better than orb walking since the orb doesn't disappear. The other way to do the vacuum cleaner just got massively buffed. In this second method, you spawn the orb and kill the boss at the same time. This was previously really difficult to set up, but it's been changed to be much more forgiving now. It seems like a much more reliable method. That's it for the guide, but if you still need help on how to get to Delve 16, I recommend you check out my video or Mulgold Kirby's recent video. I'm also really excited to be uploading a new Doom guide for learners soon, so check that out when it's ready. If this helped you, drop a like and subscribe if you're real. Peace.